In today's video, I will be analyzing my own blood test results to show you if I'm healthy or not, okay? I tested my testosterone levels, my blood markers, the main biomarkers I should be looking at for deficiencies that will affect energy levels, sleep quality, performance. Now, without further ado, let's dive straight into it. We see a lot of red, so let's actually dive into the red stuff. Am I sick? Am I ill? Am I unhealthy? Do I eat junk food and like ramen, noodles? Do I eat ice cream every day? Do I eat chocolate every day? Let's actually find out, because the numbers don't really lie. I don't care how healthy you eat. I don't care how many supplements you take. I don't care how many cold showers you take. I don't care how many hours you're meditating for. If you're not testing what your body really needs or how the things that you're doing are affecting your body, you don't even know if you're healthy or not. How do you know if your ads should be continued running or if you should test more? You simply look at the numbers. Okay? You look at the numbers. Do you usually look at the numbers when you're making decisions on what supplements to take, how many hours to sleep, how many days to train? Usually not. So if you think about this, it doesn't really make sense. Okay? So this is the ultimate thing that you want to be paying attention to if you want to be healthy, if you want to perform at your peak as a human being. Okay? Because you can't really tell, oh, I feel like I have this deficiency. I feel like I need to eat more meat. I feel like I need to eat more honey, more milk. It doesn't really work that way. So let's actually look at the numbers, because the numbers never lie. First of all, red cell count, MCV, MCH, RDW. Red cell count is the number of red cells your body produces. MCV is a marker that indicates the average size of each of your red cells. MCH is essentially how much hemoglobin each red cell is able to carry. And RDW is the balance between the smallest red cell and the highest red cell. So those markers for me are slightly out of whack. Why is that the case? Because I have sickle cell trait. Don't be alarmed, I'm not gonna die. But I have something which is pretty common, because I'm from Greece, I'm in the Mediterranean. And so for many people that derive from Latin ancestors, I believe, it happens. So those markers essentially are balanced out if you think about it, okay? Now, my total red cell count is slightly higher than the high end of the spectrum. However, the amount of the total size of each of my red cells is lower, is pretty low. So I have small, my average size of the red cells are small. So this is why my body has to produce more red cells to make up for the amount of oxygen. Those cells essentially deliver oxygen to the lungs, to the brain, to the heart. And so MCH is the amount of hemoglobin each cell can carry, red cell. And this is lower as well. This is 20. The lower end of the spectrum is 27. Okay? So in order for my body to make up for that loss, it has to produce more red cells. Okay? This is why those markers are out of whack for me. It's nothing to be concerned. This type of report is pretty common for people that have sickle cell trait. My camera, what does my camera show? AI stuff. So yeah. Now, another thing that you want to keep in mind is that I was ill. Now, for one of the first times in my life, I believe the first time in my life, I was ill for more than a week straight. Why? That's what I'm asking myself as well. Well, if you're always sleeping optimally, eating optimally, everything optimally, and then all of a sudden I started undersleeping, I traveled, London is extremely humid, extremely cold. So I essentially was indoors with the heating on, so that dried out my mucus, and so huge amounts of people in the same place with dried mucus, which your mucus is your essentially your base defense, your immune system. So 1 + 1, all those people together with dried mucuses, it's really easy to get sick. However, adding that I was extremely active all day, I wasn't recovering, I wasn't out in the cold all the time. It took me a while to recover, so I ended up going to the doctor because I was like, okay, I'm sick for like a week and a half. I'm not getting better. I have green mucus. I have fever. I'm like concerned. Okay, so I go to the doctor. I get diagnosed with a bacterial infection. Okay, not fun. They prescribe me antibiotics. Unfortunately, I'm very meticulous about not taking antibiotics. I'm very meticulous about the gut health and the gut microbiome and the adverse effects antibiotics have. But anyway, it was my last resort. I took antibiotics for 7 days. And then on day number 8, I do those tests. I take the blood test result. What do you know? Those 2 enzymes are two of the main enzymes for your liver that indicate liver damage. So essentially, my liver was slightly injured because of the antibiotics. So aspartate transferase, alanine transferase, it's not something crazy, but it indicates a slight injury of my liver, and obviously from taking antibiotics. Okay. Another marker that can also be elevated. Has 2 sides of the spectrum. Active B12 is something that I was concerned about, but it makes a lot of sense because 1, it can go up if your liver is damaged, and 2, I was supplementing with vitamin B complex and also eating a lot of meat, red meat in particular, before going to London. So essentially, I was supplementing with something that I thought would be good for me, but I have to lower it down and only essentially take it from food, red meat. Okay? So those markers are my, let's say, my red markers that are marked. So yeah, that's what I have to do for vitamin B12. The next thing that I was slightly deficient in is copper. The main reason for this is because I am allergic to oysters and mussels and clams and generally shellfish. The type of shellfish that is high in copper, I do not consume that. The next thing, as you can see, results of training every day, fasting every day, sleeping optimally, paying attention to my blood glucose levels, going for walks after my meals, eating enough fiber. My fasting insulin is super optimal, and my fasting insulin resistance index super optimal. And other deficiency, obviously, a month in London, what do you know? Vitamin D. And you need to have medium to high vitamin D levels. At least 100, 150, you need to have that. You can't go wrong. It helps your immune system function. It helps your bones, your muscles, your recovery, cognition, testosterone, libido, mood, everything. So I was supplementing with around 1,000 units of vitamin D a day. But as you can see, it's still low. So I need to quadruple or triple that, pretty much. And that's going to be taken care of in my personalized supplement formula. I'm going to get to this in a second, testosterone. I'm going to get to this in a second. So let's actually see what else am I deficient in. Serum zinc was on the higher end of the spectrum. And that's because, number 1, it gets elevated when you're sick. Number 2, I was actually taking double the dosage because I was sick and I was trying to recover. Zinc actually supercharges your immune system. So, I mean, nothing to be concerned about because I'm not usually doubling my dosage in zinc. So yeah. Now, let's go to testosterone. My testosterone levels were marked red. My testosterone levels are 40.4 nanomoles per liter. Now, your most common measuring form. So it's nanograms per deciliter. It's what most people are looking at, the most common form of measuring testosterone levels. The average total testosterone levels, nanograms per deciliter, let's say below 25, it's 697. Lower end, which is suboptimal, 408, around there. Higher end, it's 956. 25 to 29, it's pretty much the same. I'm here. I'm 24 years old. So I should be around here, right? Now, if we have a look at this measurement, testosterone, which is 40.4 nanomoles per liter, so 1 equals to 28.85. So if we do calculator and do 40.4 times 28.85 equals, so that's my testosterone levels in nanograms per deciliter. There we go. I'm here and I'm well above this. I'm 1165 nanograms per deciliter. Why is that the case? Am I unhealthy? Am I going to die? Do I have some kind of disease? Once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks, I get a below optimal sleep score. Not a score. I'm not talking about score. I don't care about scores. But I don't sleep well. Let's say now that it's the holidays, a bit more often than that. But like usually it's one every 2 or 3 weeks that I sleep suboptimally. I essentially work in accordance to my circadian biology. I work out every single day. I do cardio. I do around 3 hours of cardio, 3 hours and something extra of cardio every single week. I eat a lot of saturated fats. I eat a lot of red meat, a lot of raw milk. I do everything essentially under the sun to make sure my testosterone levels are functioning to the best level that they can be naturally. I'm not taking steroids, but I am taking a lot of supplements like Fedoja agrestis, Tungut Ali, L-carnitine. I am taking boron, magnesium. I was taking zinc, now I've slightly lowered down. Vitamin D, all those things are going to have a positive impact in your sex hormones, in your testosterone. So this is a clear reflection of how my lifestyle affects my body. Okay? I wasn't getting exposed to enough sunlight. My consumption of vitamin D was lower. Therefore, I am slightly below optimal in my vitamin D levels. I incorporated fasting every single day. I minimize sugar. I walk after my meals. I eat a lot of fiber. I eat a lot of fermented foods. Fasting blood glucose, optimal. My triglycerides, optimal. HDL, this is something that I want to touch with you. HDL, the total to HDL cholesterol ratio, LDL, optimal. Non-HDL, optimal. CRP, which is the main marker of inflammation and damage in your body, is low. Every single thing is optimal. HDL is below optimal, so that means that I need to increase my omega-3 or fatty acid consumption or the fatty fish consumption, which I admit that in this 30 days of being in London, I wasn't supplementing with omega-3s, so that clearly reflects on my HDL cholesterol levels. So I was sick. I was taking antibiotics. You can clearly tell by looking at this. Again, I exercise daily. I fast daily. I eat a lot of saturated fats, animal foods. I don't eat processed, or I do eat processed sometimes, but I try to minimize that to like the 10%. So as you can see, my triglycerides, my cholesterol, my LDL are optimal. The same with testosterone. Is above high. It's in the optimal ranges that you want it to be if you want to be actually truly performing at your peak. I'm doing everything that I can to make sure my testosterone functions that way. Whenever I wake up, I do everything that's needed for my brain to start producing enough of hormones, the hormones that you need. And so that's something that you can clearly tell by looking at the data. Usually, if you feel like crap, there is a high likelihood that you have a lot of deficiencies. Now, for me, for example, one of the reasons that I did get sick, one of the reasons that I stayed sick could be because of the vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D is strongly connected with your immune system. That's it. If you feel like you have low energy, if you have brain fog, again, it's not because you're not taking the right supplements. It's not because you're actually not sleeping enough. It's not because you're not doing the right exercises in the gym. It's not because you're not meditating enough. It's because you don't know what you're doing. You don't know if what you're doing is actually what your body needs. And you don't have access to this very simple to get data. And this will show you exactly what you need in order to perform better. Let's say, for example, I have high fasting insulin, low testosterone. This is out of whack. Okay, this will result in me feeling foggy. This will later, if this is high, this is an indication that my body is, like, my insulin levels are high, which is a clear indicator of how metabolically flexible my body is. You simply can't tell me you're healthy if you don't have access to those numbers, to that data here. Those were my blood test results. I hope this made sense for you. If this was interesting, then you might as well want to subscribe or like the video down below to make sure to stay tuned for more. Because I will be doing a complete hormone panel to actually see my free testosterone, my bioavailable testosterone, because I do feel extremely motivated and driven, strong, and not risk-averse. But I could lie to you. But the data never lie. So that being said, guys, I hope you enjoyed this very boring video. I mean, in the sense of it's nothing sexy to show. It's just me analyzing numbers. My numbers, I do this for my clients all the time, but nobody has actually seen my own reports. Keep in mind that when I did the results, then I did the report, the blood test, I was sick. A week before this, I was sick. Let's say 10 days before this, I was sick. I took the antibiotics for 7 days. I got better. But because I'm not that, I'm kind of reckless when it comes to antibiotics. I hate antibiotics. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stop taking antibiotics a day before I do the test so that I can kind of save my liver markers and get a more accurate measurement. So I stopped taking the antibiotics. Little do you know, the day after the tests, I become ill again because the bacteria became stronger, became adapted. I don't know the exact medical term to this, but the bacteria become more agile because they adapt to the effects of the antibiotics. And so I continued being sick for another week, let's say. That was the first time in my life I was sick for that long. I went to another doctor. Still, the bacteria was stronger. I took another antibiotic for this time 3 days, and from there I'm completely fine. But I am taking practices and protocols to optimize my liver and detox my liver and make sure I heal my liver to the best of my extent. For example, NAC, milk thistle, sauna, a lot of water, a lot of sweating to detox my liver because it's injured. Drinking and eating and consuming a lot of fermented foods like sauerkraut, kefir. I'm supplemented with probiotics as well. L-glutamine is also very good for the gut health, the gut lining. So I'm doing everything that I can to fix the adverse effects that the antibiotic that I was taking had on me. Because antibiotics not only harm and injure your liver, but also your gut microbiome. And this can result in low energy, worse sleep, brain fog, and poor mood. That being said, guys, I don't want to ramble about my blood test report any longer. I hope you enjoyed this informative video, a bit more scientific than usual, but I could lie about how I feel, about my strength. I could brag about my testosterone levels, but the numbers don't lie, okay? Take care.